Hi, everybody. It's Tay. I'm here today with David, who's a part of our PSW AC committee, the advisory committee. David speaks really well. And we're here today to kind of talk about how he became a PSW in the first place and what drew him to the profession, and just kind of having a chat about that. Because as we all know, a lot of us take this as a second career, and it's interesting to know what draws people in, in different points in their lives or in their career. So David's here today to kind of break that down for us and let us into his whole perspective on the field. So thank you for being here and for speaking with me, and I'm stoked to get started.
Thank you, Taylor. Thanks a lot, and I hope everyone appreciates the fact that we can talk about this and provide some insight into what I think and also what everybody else thinks. Hopefully, draw some things out for sure.
Yeah, I think it's cool to kind of have conversations like this, and we do talk a lot about like the negative in the field and things that are wrong, and I think that's very important. But after a while, it's like, okay, this is heavy, so it's nice to have some uplifting stuff, but also have an honest conversation with a fellow PSW on the issues and also the great stuff that our field has to offer. So I'm interested to hear your perspective here. And two, I know that you had a background in IT. So can you kind of take us through what led you to even start this career in the first place?
Sure. There's lots of factors. First thing I have to say, though, now that I am a PSW and working where I am now in a nursing home, it's the best job I've ever had. Every day I'm happy. Every day I'm fulfilled. And every day there's things happen, and it doesn't matter because every day it works out well. But anyway, I just want to state that because it's amazing working with the seniors at the nursing home. It's amazing. And what led me there is the fact that I was an IT professional for 35 years. So I worked in SAP support. SAP is a software that runs a lot of major corporations. So we were the back-end support, database support, operating system support. I don't know. I won't bore everybody with all my IT details here, but and throw a few words out there. But we did everything. We worked upgrades, we worked weekends, we worked maintenance windows from midnight till 10 a.m. the next day. I don't know how many nights I lost working in support and being on call and getting called all night long and dealing with emergencies. And it was a great career. I loved it until a certain point.
Mhm.
And so a lot of things led to it. A long career in IT, a couple of projects later in my career that were just horrible,
Mhm.
poorly managed. I was involved in them as technical and managing some of the project management part of it, and it just wasn't going well. A lot of pressure. Then my brother passed away at the age of 58, and he had just retired from a corporate life as well, and
Wow.
retired less than a year, so, and died of a heart attack. So that put a lot of things in perspective. And then COVID hit,
Mhm.
and then that put a lot more in perspective. So, and I'd already been volunteering at a long-term care home, and I also volunteered at Darling Home for Kids, which is a home for severely disabled children.
Mhm.
And so just doing those things, I knew I knew I had a different, not different, I shouldn't say different, but I knew I had something else that I wanted to do, something that would make me feel that I was really contributing.
Yeah.
So, and all those combinations of things uh, led me to just think about I wanted to work in a senior's home. I wanted to work in a home. And my wife told me, well, you need to be a PSW. I said, I'm not going to become a PSW. Do you know what PSWs do? I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So,
And
but,
now here you are.
and now here I am. Yeah, I know. And the more I looked into it, and then of course it was, I won't say of course, but I looked into it. I got certifications. So I got my St. John's, I got my food handler certificate, I got my smart certificate. And then I looked into schooling. So it was a long time of thought, a long time to prepare to do it. Right. Could I work full time in my IT role and do school at the same time was the biggest question. Right. Can I
Did you
just
end up
not
doing that?
work? Hmm?
Did you end up doing that and kind of
I
manage
did.
both?
No, I quit. I quit IT.
Yeah,
I couldn't do
fair.
it. Yeah. I didn't think I could do it and really put everything into it that I needed to. So,
Yeah.
um, So I saved a lot of money and quit, and then took about 6 months off and
Good for
did the
you.
course. Yeah.
And I know from our discussions too, we were talking about online learning and
Mm,
how was that for you as someone who basically learned online?
no, it, I would say, so I've worked in IT my entire career. So I've done this my entire career. I've been online. I've been in meetings like this for a long time, right? So I'm used to that part of it.
Mhm.
And I did some online training.
Yeah.
But the thing was with going into this, I thought it wouldn't work because it's a PSW. It's a hands-on job. It's more of a, you need to be with people. You need to feel the environment or whatever. So I didn't think it would work, but it at the beginning, it was like 300 or 400 people in the class online, and then they split us off. And I got really involved with a lot of the input in the classes. And then there was, you had to be online. You had to have your camera on all the time. But I would say 25% of us had their cameras on. So you don't even know if people are in there in class.
Like,
their
are
name is
they
up.
washing
Yeah,
their dishes at the same time?
exactly.
Like, you don't know.
But a lot of people had kids too. So you saw kids in the cameras as well. So it was quite a range of people, I will say, and older people like myself who are going for another career, second, third career, younger people starting out, want to be RPN, RN.
Mhm.
Um, the people I met in class were amazing, amazing. But it wasn't until we did labs on in-class labs, and that was probably the last 2 months, I guess.
Mhm.
So the first 4 months, it was all online. Even our labs were online. At
How
one
was
point,
that transitioning to like in class versus primarily being online? Like, how
uh,
was that for you?
the first class was very odd,
Yeah.
very uncomfortable, right? Nobody knew where to sit. Kind of, it was still that kind of atmosphere, right? Like, oh, should we sit close or Um, but it worked out really well. And I think there was 8 of us in our lab, and the instructor was amazing. He was a guy who took a leave of absence from long-term care to do the lab. So he was fantastic. And the class we had a lot of fun, and we all passed and we all learned. So yeah, it was great. It
That's
was great.
cool.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was like one of our classes, one of our labs was just hand washing. That was it.
I remember that too. And I remember getting my certificate and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm certified in hand washing.
Hey,
Like,
there
this
you
is
go.
crazy. But it's kind of neat. And could you maybe tell us or the audience, like for me personally, online learning, so hard for me. I'm not, it doesn't engage me. Like I do struggle with it myself. So
Mm,
are there any sort of tips or things that you did to kind of get through your education online?
online. I think the biggest thing for me was camera on, ask questions, don't be shy, don't think anything is a stupid question. I think, and I won't tell you my age, but since I'm older, I always feel that I shouldn't say I don't care, but I'm not as self-conscious about stating what I really think or bringing forward something that may not be right, but at least I'm bringing it forward for discussion, that type of thing. So I think that's just be brave if you want to use the word brave, and just speak out, like stay involved, and that'll keep you a little more alert. Right?
That's true
So,
too. Yeah, like staying involved, like you
mm,
said, because it is easy to shut your camera
oh
off and
yeah.
go do something than to be present. But it's hard to be present at times too. So
Mhm.
that's something I personally struggle with. So I wonder how it is for you and how you got through that. But I like the whole asking questions thing because I think too, like
Mhm.
for me, I was in college when I was 19.
Yeah.
So I still am self-conscious, but like I
Right.
was very self-conscious at that point too. So you're doing like basic common things, we're
Yeah.
learning how to change people, we're learning how to get them dressed. But
Yeah.
if you have a question about it, you almost feel silly. And so,
Exactly. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, so it's kind of nice. Yeah. Like I think that's great to just ask the questions because if you don't know, you don't know. And
No.
everything hands on. So you need to know. I
Yeah.
think that's a
Yeah.
really great message to send out to people as well, that like
No, you
it's
have to stay
all
engaged. Stay engaged. And yes, we can all read the textbook, the Mosby's textbook, the one that's like really thick. That's an
yes.
awesome book. It is
Yeah.
an awesome book, but but yeah, we can all read and we can all look up things online and all that, but just get involved with who you're with because you're not going to see them face to face. So you might as well at least get to know
Mhm.
them online a little bit, right? And there were a lot of groups created too, some Facebook groups and online groups, and so we got into those as well, just to keep in touch with people and
It's important. Kind of
yeah, it
creating a
was.
sense of community is important, right? Like
I
it's
think it
obviously
worked.
what we're
Yeah.
trying to do here too, but yeah, when you're in school, it feels very lonely at times as well. So that's
Mhm.
really interesting. That's a great perspective on it too. Um, I kind of want to know too, to kind of backtrack again.
Mhm.
Sorry. You said it
No,
at the beginning, but you were going off so well. So I was like, don't interrupt
you don't
him.
want to
But
interrupt them. Okay.
I
Cut me
want
off
to
at any
know,
time. Shut
I
me off. Do whatever you
no,
have to
because
do.
you say great things. So I was like, I'll just remember this and we'll talk
Okay.
about it later.
That's
But
good. That's
I
good.
want to know, for long-term care, there is like a high burnout rate in long-term care, especially.
Mhm.
Um, I know it's across the board in general, but I do know long-term care generally has the reputation for being, really hard, nose to the grind, like crazy stuff happening in there. So I kind of want to hear, why is it the best for you? Like, why does it work well? I like hearing it. I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
long-term care as well, but I
Yeah.
also know,
Yeah.
it's tiring and you know that
Oh,
too. But
yeah.
like, I like to hear someone else's moments because I have the clicking moments myself in there. But what are your clicking moments? What draws you in?
There's two main things draw me in every day, and it's the people I'm going to work with. So I know we have three wings where I'm at this long-term care facility, and the wing I'm on is the busiest, has 35 residents. So we usually have 4 to 5 PSWs working each shift to take care of the residents. So it's usually a 7-to-1 ratio, which is pretty good. Um, and just knowing that I'm going to go in there and engage with the people I'm going to work with, and also who I'm going to be getting up in the morning. I work a lot of mornings, so um, but it's hard. It's exhausting physically. It's exhausting mentally. Every single day is hard. And if you go into until you work long-term care, you'll never know. Like unless if you do retirement or you do home care, you'll never. And I'm not saying it's horrible. It's just totally different. And it's mornings are like you start at 7 and by 2 you're kind of having a break, right? It's
Mhm.
crazy for a lot of hours, right? So but it's I don't know, it's just every resident that I deal with, and I'm big on approach, so and I'm slow. They always used to tell me at the retirement home I used to work at, you're slow, David, you need to speed up. And I would say, no, I'm fine. I'm just going to take my time. And I do. And I talk the conversations I have in the morning sometimes aren't great because they're not quite awake, and I hate waking them up sometimes too. But
Yeah.
it just that those single moments, yeah, I could have one of those in a day and it'd make it a great day. So
I find that too. Like you just have one moment, you're like, okay, like I haven't had a break in
mm,
like
yeah,
7 hours, but it's fine.
yeah,
Well, it's not fine. It's not fine. But
no, no.
like, yeah, it's interesting to kind of hear that and have that be like another person saying that as well. Cause I talked a lot about the clicking moments and the things
Hmm.
that matter. And, for you to say specifically long-term care, I was like,
Right,
we should
right.
dive into that
And
because
that's really why when I was thinking of becoming a PSW, and really I saw what was going on during the pandemic. We were taking care of my mother-in-law too. I didn't say that at the time, but she has dementia, so she lived with us. And my wife's two brothers kind of rotated through the houses. But
Mhm.
once the pandemic hit, she was here full time, and she continually got worse. So um, it just became when I saw what was going on, and I thought I have to work in long-term care because it's horrible in long-term care. I've got to see what's going on there. I need to help,
Yeah,
right? So then I worked once I'm there, and it's not, we have PSWs that have been there for over 30 years at the same facility, which is amazing, I think.
I
I
think
think
so.
it's I think it's crazy too
Yeah,
to do
for
that for
real.
30 years. Yeah, I don't think I could do it. I think too, and I hope I'm trying to figure whether this is good or bad. My perspective is I'm new, right? I've only been a year and a half, right? And only a year in long-term care as a PSW. So I still have I'm thinking maybe I still have that passion that some and I'm not blaming other PSWs for not having passion or not whatever, but
Yeah,
it's just different because they've been doing it for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Whereas I'm still young in the profession. So I think I have a different perspective. I hope I do, but I don't know. I shouldn't say I hope I do. I'm
you do
yeah,
have a good perspective, like a fresh perspective. I
that's
think
what I
you're
thought.
right
Yeah.
though, too. Like, let's be honest here. When you're doing it for 30 years, it's very easy for you to get in the emotions of things, like, got to change this person, got to get this
Yeah.
person up.
Yeah.
And
Quick,
so
quick, quick.
it's
Do it.
very
You're
easy
done.
to just
Yeah.
blow by it as a task rather
Yeah.
than
Yes.
like,
And I see that. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And it's a problem too, but like
Yeah.
it's also a level of consciousness that I think we kind of need to check in with ourselves about sometimes. And I know it's hard to as well, or you're just trying to get things done. I totally understand it, but yeah, I would agree that that happens as well in the field, and it's rather sad, but
It
like
is.
you
It
said
is.
before, kind of relating it back to like staying involved and staying
Mm.
current in what's happening in your
Sure.
field. And, I found that that's been helpful as well. Just again, not trying to plug the association in, but I'm going
No,
to plug the association in here.
sure. For
Like
sure.
staying current with that and being a part of that
Yeah.
keeps your brain going as to what's happening in your field, because it's very easy to put yourself off to the side, right? So,
Mhm.
and do your own thing. But when you know
Yeah.
what's going on, you have a group of people that are in it with you, like it's helpful and it
Exactly.
kind of grounds you, right?
Yes. Yes. For sure. For sure.
Yeah, I
And
would
this,
totally agree with you.
yeah, and this profession should ground most people, I would think. Like I said, until you've worked a day as a PSW in long-term care, I don't think you could say anything about long-term care or PSWs, right? It's just
It's very easy
it's
for people too. And then you're like,
oh yeah,
it's a whole different ball game in there.
exactly. And I guess you can say that about a lot of professions as well, but we're taking care of people. That's the biggest thing, right? I some people, some of PSWs or long or resident care aides, if they're not PSWs, they get paid $18 an hour, right, to do
Yeah.
that job, and yet you can go work at Best Buy and get paid $18 an hour, right? And you're caring for people. So
Yes.
the people there, the people that are earning the money, and this is for the most part what I've seen is they're a little bit, like we said, if they've been there, it seems like if they've worked at it for a long time, they're a little less compassionate, a little quicker, a little, yeah, but everybody I've seen really cares for the people, the residents. It's not, I haven't seen anything bad, abusive, anything come
Hmm.
close to that. I've seen where they don't talk to them nicely. I've seen where they don't necessarily tell them what they're going to do and just start doing it, that type of thing. So,
I have
and
seen that as well, the whole like not telling people what to do.
yeah.
And I think it's just a thing again that they forget, but it's so important, right? They're like,
Mhm.
you can't just go in and be like, we're getting
Yeah,
dressed,
let's
like
go.
you
Yep.
gotta,
Yeah.
warm up to it a little bit. But it's
Just a
hard. I,
bit.
I understand, but
True.
I
True.
agree. It's a
True.
little, it's iffy sometimes,
It
right?
can be. It can be
People
for sure. Yeah.
go through the motions, definitely. But it's understandable, but it's, checking in with yourself is important for sure.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
But the biggest thing, and you talked about burnout, and the biggest thing I've seen at this place where I work, it's small, only 60 beds, but PSWs that are not there, it's almost daily that somebody calls in,
mhm.
almost daily. And I've seen people do 16-hour days, 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row, double shifts. It's just, I don't work as much as most of the people there. I'm not gonna burn myself out. And
Yeah.
and people are injured. We have so many lines that are not available. They're temporary right now because the person who had them is still employed but can't work because they're injured, right? So there's a
Yeah.
lot of that. And there were a couple that were not vaccinated. So but those lines are still not permanently given to anybody. So
And then
it's
so you've got to kind of pick up the slack, right? Because everybody's assigned residents. If that person
right.
doesn't show up,
Oh, yeah.
their resident list has to be dispersed amongst the current staff, right? So like we all understand how people could get burned out, or you get just lost in like the thought of doing tasks instead
Oh,
of being like, oh right, like
yeah, at that point, the ratio is not fair. And it's not fair to the people who did come in. And we do use agency at this nursing home, but I tell you, 90% of the agency PSWs don't know what they're doing. They come in there and you're basically doing your work and their work so you're doing double work anyway. It's hard.
that's the
So
problem. And then you kind of rely on the current staff to kind of train this person for a day,
yeah,
then they're gone. So like
mhm.
it's not really a solution.
Not all the time. No, No,
Yeah.
nurses, it works better with nurses. I find we have a lot of agency nurses. It
Mhm.
seems to work better with them. It's not as, you don't have to be as familiar, I guess, with the residents, and I don't know.
A med list, like a
Yeah,
med
yeah,
list, more of like a
exactly.
checklist kind of thing, whereas like we're more bedside. So it's like,
Hmm. Yeah,
who am I touching? Like, what is
yeah.
this?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
daily behaviors, all of that stuff too, right?
Hmm.
But like, despite it all, what would be the one thing that really does keep you going? Like, I know you've pretty much touched on it, but like, if you could draw it down to even like a word or a phrase or anything like that and make it super simple for us, what keeps you going despite, all of this fluff on the side that is kind of
Yeah.
deterring?
Well, sure, and it can be frustrating, but I would say there's two things. I would say I'm humbled every day, right? Because of what I have, what I can do.
Mhm.
I can do everything I want to do, and these people, half of them cannot do anything they want to do, right? So
Yes.
humbled every single day. And the other word would be that um, fulfillment. It has to be fulfillment. I feel that I'm making a huge difference every single day.
Yeah.
And as the team does, not just me. And I keep saying me, but it's me, the other PSWs, the kitchen staff, the housekeeping staff, the maintenance guy, everybody. If I need help with a lift, I can ask anybody there just to be there with me with a lift, right? So everybody contributes, and it's yeah, humbled, and it's fulfilling. It's just the best thing I've ever done, right? And
That's so awesome. That's so
mm,
awesome that someone with your background was like, nope, I'm gonna switch. And you're
yeah,
like, we don't
yeah.
hear that often, you know what I mean? Like I was surprised. So like
Yeah.
it's very interesting to kind of hear what what took you
What-
over to the side.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I've never, I don't know. I've always been a little bit different, I have to say. I'm not, my mom
right.
taught me a lot of things. I guess that's what helped when I was young.
It's great. I love it. I love it. I think
Mhm.
it's really interesting. And it's nice to just kind of hear some positivity as well and
It
some
is.
honesty. We're being honest about the
Mm,
issues, but it's nice
mm,
to hear um that despite it all, like you keep going and you know that you're making a difference. And I
yeah,
think what a lot of people don't realize too, or like me, and by a lot of people, I mean more or less like people that are involved in, in healthcare, like you and I would be with our jobs, but
right.
how underrated activities of daily living really are for people. And like you said, you were humbled all the time because you realize someone can't go get themselves a cup of coffee or can't even go to the bathroom by themselves. But to be able to do that and help someone, do that, it does actually make you feel so much better because you know that you're really helping someone, even if it is like a small daily task. And I think that's like what a lot of us get from our jobs as
Oh,
well.
I would think so. I would think so too. And you know what? A lot of the PSWs I work with, and most of them are female, although I do see a lot more males coming in now too, which is nice, and everybody kind of likes that, right?
Yes.
Um, but they really make the residents look beautiful every single day. They're, especially when we do baths as well, so they're curling their hair, and they're putting makeup on them. It's amazing. It's cool. I don't curl hair though, so I can't do that.
Same. Haven't had to do that in a while
Yeah, I don't need to do
either.
either.
I had to do hair before too, and I was like, listen, I've been
Yeah,
shaving my head for like 6 years. I don't know
yeah,
what's going on anymore. So
yeah. Just leave it. Yeah.
sorry if you look like a poodle, but but it's fun. It's so fun. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
what I like about the job too. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that to hear that you and your coworkers have that
Oh,
experience as well. It's awesome.
I said to my wife about, I worked yesterday, Sunday, and I said it was we had so many laughs yesterday, so much fun. Like it was, yeah, it
You
was
got to
amazing.
crack the jokes and have some
Yeah,
fun too and make it light in there. I find it
yeah.
helped everybody. Even
Oh,
the
yeah.
residents
Even the
love
residents,
to
yeah, they
laugh
love to
at
see
each
it.
other,
Yeah,
at each other, with each other. Like,
yeah, yeah.
it's funny. It's a good time in
Oh,
there.
nah,
It can
yeah,
be at least.
yeah. For the most part, yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
still deal with everything you have to deal with, and
Unfortunately,
whatever
yes.
you have to do. Yeah, yeah. It's all good.
That's wonderful. I'm
Mhm.
I'm really happy to have you here and to listen to you speak on the field and in your experiences so far. But is there anything else that you think you could leave us with or I feel like we got it all for me.
Okay.
Like, I feel
Yeah.
like I got the whole picture with you, and it was
Good.
really nice. And like I said, very refreshing.
Awesome. I'm glad. I'm glad. And I want to thank you. This has been a great opportunity for me. And I'm glad we could talk like this. And what you're doing is awesome. I saw all your posts from the event the other day. So yeah, yeah. So that was very good. And yeah, I just want to say get involved, stay involved. Um, and remember this, they're people. They need respect, dignity, privacy, safety, whatever we want to quote, right? We have to be able to provide that at all times, right? So
Absolutely.
no
Well, thank
matter
you.
what environment.
Absolutely. I
Okay.
agree. Thank you for being here and for
No, thanks,
speaking.
Taylor.
And thanks for the support on social media as well. I try, but I don't know enough about social media
Yeah,
to make it
that's
look really
okay.
pretty, but appreciate all of your words. And that's it for me for this
Okay.
podcast this week. But again, thank you, David, and thank you
Okay.
to all of our listeners out there. I hope this was a refreshing listen for you and something that again resonated with you too, on a more happier note.
Mhm.
So I hope everybody's having a great week. I hope we have a great weekend, because this will be dropping on Friday. But yeah, thank you for listening and take care.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.